everyone, it's Ro and welcome back to my channel. So I haven't done a book talk in a long time, so today I thought I'd share my thoughts on a book that I just read yesterday. I have been waiting for this book to be released for a long time because I heard a lot of hype about it. I've read previous books that the author's written before. So that book is Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. So how do I feel about this book? To be honest, I am really on the fence about what sort of rating I would give this book. So if you haven't heard about Passenger and you haven't read it yet, I'll just tell you a little bit about it. Passenger follows the storyline of Etta, who's a 17-year-old girl. She's a great violin player and she's just transitioning into a really exciting part of her life. She's about to kickstart her violin career and everything's really going well for her. But on the night of one of her violin showcases, Etta falls into a bit of trouble and she is pulled back through time to 1776. She finds herself on this ship in the middle of this sea battle. On this ship, Etta meets Nicholas Carter, who's this guy. He has a very troubled past, a very mysterious past. And we also get to see scenes from his point of view quite a bit. He can't escape these people who are his family, the Ironwood family, who've done some really horrible things to him. And because of this family, Nicholas has had to make some really tough decisions that have really affected him really quite deeply. And the Ironwoods are this really mysterious family that hang over the main characters in this book, and they want Etta to find this stolen object that the Ironwoods say have been taken from them, and they want Etta to find it for them. And why they want her to look for it, she has no idea. So of course, through all this confusion that Etta has to go through, she's been pulled back through time and she's able to travel into the past and she's able to jump in and out of years throughout history. So we see many really great historical events that are well known and we get to see them through Etta and Nicholas's eyes, which is really awesome. So Etta and Nicholas have to go on this perilous journey across lots of different countries in many different eras, and they have to get through these passages to find this stolen object. Obviously this book has a lot of action and adventure and it's always moving, so if you guys don't really like slow-paced books, this is great for you because it definitely moves quickly. And I was really intrigued by the concept that Alexandra Bracken created. On Goodreads, I gave this book 4 stars out of 5, but I'm really actually bordering on a 3.5 stars out of 5. For those who are familiar with Alexandra Bracken's books, she wrote the Darkest Minds series, which is a series I absolutely loved. It was one of those series that I read a couple years ago and it really intrigued me and I binged the whole series so fast. But it was a very different type of book to Passenger. Passenger is definitely a step up in terms of the language that Alexandra Bracken uses. It's just a lot more sophisticated than the Darkest Minds. That goes without saying that I sort of found the whole concept of the time traveling and the inner workings behind the world that Alexandra created was a bit hard to follow at times. I found it quite hard to get into the book at the beginning because of this. All the terms associated with the specific time traveling language that was incorporated in this book was a bit hard to understand at first. It took me a while to get used to it, but I think by the end I sort of had the gist of it. I'm pretty sure I missed a little few tidbits throughout the book that may have benefited me when the climax of the storyline was approaching, but that's just my personal thoughts. So if you've read Passenger, comment down below, tell me what you thought about it when you first started reading it and I'd love to know. That's all I'm going to say for the non-spoiler part of this video. So if you haven't read Passenger yet, give it a go if it sort of sounds like your sort of thing. It was entertaining, you should all try it out. So if you haven't read it yet, go pick up the book. Once you finished it, you guys can come back and watch the rest of this video. But for now, goodbye non-spoilery people. Okay, so I'm going to be jumping into the spoilery part of this video. So first of all, I'm just going to touch on what I thought about the individual characters of this book. So I'm going to kick off with Etta. In my opinion, Etta was an okay character. I didn't find really anything special about her. She wasn't amazingly funny. She didn't have many standout components of her personality that would usually stick with me once I finished a book. So I guess I could say that in my opinion, I thought she was sort of a flat character. I would have loved to see a bit more dimension to what her inner personality was like. On that scale, I couldn't really connect with her that much, and that goes the same with Nicholas. Nicholas, he was a pretty cool guy, but I sort of thought he was a bit flat as well, which is a shame because I really liked Ruby from The Darkest Minds and I loved Liam from The Darkest Minds. I also had an issue with how fast Etta and Nicholas became really close and really started to say they were in love very early on in the book. I'm not sure if that's the same for everyone, but personally I thought their relationship developed really quickly, and in that aspect I didn't really believe their relationship. I thought they were fond of each other, but I didn't believe they were in love like they said they were. They only knew each other a very short time before they started confessing their feelings towards each other. So you can say that was one of my major issues of this book. I mean, it wasn't major, but I definitely think I prefer slow burning relationships. I need to believe that the characters are meant to be with each other, that they really complement each other. And unfortunately, I just didn't feel like that with Etta and Nicholas's relationship. However, I loved the concept of jumping in between different eras throughout history. I loved being able to see World War II, London, Cambodia, Temple was definitely interesting. When I first picked this up, I thought there would be a lot more about pirates and everything, and I'm really into that stuff, so I was really looking forward to that. But unfortunately, it really didn't have a lot of that in this book, which was a bit of a letdown. But hey, the just time traveling in general is really quite awesome, so I'm not saying that I didn't like that part. But I did find some bits of the jumping between eras and what happened during those eras very repetitive. It'd sort of just be like they'd try and find the passage, and then a Thorn or someone else, one of the Ironwoods, would be there and they'd have to get out of that era really quickly, and it just repeated for every single time they crossed into a different year. So I guess that sort of made it more fast-paced, but I would have loved if we could stay a bit longer in each era and we could really have an insight into what it would have been like back then. I did love the whole time they were on the boat, and I wish they were on the ship more often with the crew, because I really liked that part. Then there was Sophia, and Sophia, I thought she was pretty cool. She had a little bit of character development, you know, she sort of was being pushed around this whole time, and then she wanted to be very ambitious, but it didn't really end up well for her. She got beaten up and she was left with Nicholas at the end. That brings me on to what I think is going to happen next. I'm actually pretty excited for what will happen when Nicholas and Etta are now separated, what that means for what they will be doing. I have a feeling we'd probably see more into each individual character then, which is something I'm totally up for. I'm not particularly sad that Nicholas and Etta are separated at all, and that goes for saying when Nicholas thought Etta was dead, I was not really sad at all that she had died. I guess it was because it was such a quick death that I didn't really feel like she was dead, and I obviously didn't believe that she was dead either. And that is true. I wonder if we will get to see Julian, if Nicholas will be going on a whole hunt to find Julian in the wrinkle of time. I wonder where he is, I wonder if he's still alive. I'd love to see more of his character, because Nicholas obviously had this whole debate about if he did let him slip off the edge of that cliff and die. I would be very intrigued if we got to see him in the next book. By the way, I do think this is only 2-book series. Really hope that soon we'll be able to see more character development. I found the whole meeting a younger Alice scene very confusing. I sort of kept forgetting that Alice was a younger version of herself. I just kept imagining her to be this grandma when she wasn't, in fact. I can't wrap my head around the fact that they can send themselves a letter in the past, and if they jumped into another year, they'd be able to see that letter and it will remind them to do something in the future. I think that's sort of what they were saying in some parts of this book, and I still don't really get it. Hopefully I can maybe make that connection in the next book, but if you guys felt that way as well when you're reading this, comment down below, and maybe if you do know what they were talking about, can you please explain it to me, because I got a bit confused. I'm just going to give this book a 3.75 for my rating because I can't decide if I want to give it a 3.5 or a 4-star rating. It was entertaining enough and I'm glad that I read it anyway. Comment down below what your thoughts were on this book and we can discuss the different concepts of this storyline together. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye! I am going to be doing a little beginner's guide to reading YA fantasy books. And the reason why I'm doing this is because